What's up, y'all? My name's Carter. Welcome to Lucky Dog on Track, and today we're going to be breaking down 5 facts you probably didn't know about the legend himself, Ricky Rudd. Now, NASCAR fans, y'all familiar with the phrase tough as nails, right? But let's take it back to a time when that actually meant something. When drivers weren't just drivers, they were real-life gladiators. When, in fact, a wreck did not mean I'm gonna pull over to the infield care center and meant I need some duct tape because I got a race to finish. You know, Ricky Rudd embodied that era of NASCAR. In fact, if you look up the word toughness in the dictionary, you're gonna see his picture under it. He was an absolute warrior who started 788 races in a row without missing a single one. He once taped his own eyes open so he could race, and he even won a race while almost being cooked alive in his own car. I mean, who does that? He went head to head with legends like Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Richard Petty, ran his own crew, and got 23 wins over a 30-year career. Nobody embodied that old school toughness like Ricky. And I want you to ask yourself if you think this new generation of racers could actually put themselves through what he did. Could they race week after week, month after month with bruises, burns, broken ribs, no fancy recovery, no high-tech suits, just a lot of guts and even more heart? See, if you're a real NASCAR fan, you know this sport isn't just about driving ability. Deep down, it's about grit. And nobody had more of that than Ricky. Well, if you think you know everything about Ricky, think again, because today we're going to be breaking down 5 things about this real-life NASCAR Ironman that I bet you weren't aware of. Hit that subscribe button and get ready to have your mind blown. Fact number 1, Ricky Rudd held the Ironman record in NASCAR for over a decade. The fact that he made 788 consecutive starts without missing a single race. That's insane. That means from 1981 until 2005, he started every single NASCAR race. Just think about that for a second. That means no injury days, no sick days, no vacations, no days off. Just a lot of grit, determination, and a desire to be the first of that checkered flag. And the craziest part about it, he started this streak before he was anybody, when he was just making a name for himself. He was grinding, he was out there with small teams, he was just trying to get his name known. In fact, in the 70s, he even said himself he wasn't sure if he was going to get a full-time ride. Fast forward 30 years later, and he's got one of the most impressive careers in NASCAR history. That's what makes him a Hall of Famer. That grit, that determination, that desire to be the best, no matter what you're going through. It's true that Jeff Gordon broke his record in 2015, but he held that for over a decade. Number 2, his first crown jewel win at the Brickyard 400 in 1997. Now let's talk about the biggest winner of Ricky's career. Y'all know that kind of racer who always almost wins a big race but doesn't get that first place finish? That was Ricky. He competed masterfully in a number of NASCAR's crown jewel races, the Daytona 500, the Southern 500, the Coca-Cola 600, but he never got that checkered flag until 1997, when all the stars aligned at Indianapolis Speedway and he took home first place in the Brickyard 400. He took the lead under caution with 14 laps to go. And after that, it was a neck-and-neck dogfight between him and Bobby Labonte. 2 late race restarts after that, and he takes home the checkered flag, earning himself the biggest win of his career. And you know what he said after that? He said, "Nobody has time to celebrate a win because we got to keep moving on to the next thing." He wasn't out there partying all night. He wasn't that kind of guy. Nah, Rudd was just getting ready for the next race. But deep down, it was a career-defining moment for him. Number 3, one of NASCAR's most successful owner-drivers. Now let's talk about how awesome it is to both run your team, drive for it, and win. Not many have ever pulled it off in NASCAR history, but Ricky Rudd, he made it happen, and it's something he don't get enough credit for. After Alan Kulwicki pulled off the miracle in 1992 of winning the championship while being an owner-driver, Rudd decided to give it a shot himself. Founded Rudd Performance Motors in 1994. Did not take him long to find success. He won in New Hampshire in 1997, holding off none other than Dale Earnhardt Sr. Over the next 2 years, he grabbed 6 wins while running his own team. That might not sound like a lot, but honestly, being an owner-driver is one of the most difficult things you can possibly do in NASCAR, so I view that number as quite impressive. He actually went and shut down the team in 1999, saying, unsurprisingly, it was too much work. But he proved that he could both manage and drive with the best of them at the same time. Number 4, he taped his own eyes open to race in the 1984 Daytona 500. Now, if you know about Rudd, you know he was tough as hell. At the 1984 Busch Clash at Daytona, Rudd got in one of the worst wrecks of his career. His car flipped violently, and his face ended up so swollen that his eyes were nearly swollen shut. Doctors told him there is no way in hell you're racing at Daytona. But Rudd wasn't one to listen to that. So what does he do? He gets out there and he tapes his eyes open so he can race at Daytona. I mean, who does that? And get this, he didn't just race. He actually came in 7th. And get this, he won the very next race at Richmond, from being ruled out by the doctors to coming in 1st in a major NASCAR race. The craziest part is his eyes weren't even the worst injured part of him. His ribs torn up from the accident, but that didn't bother Rudd at all. Rudd was like, it's just another day in the office to me. If that is not legendary, I don't know what is, and it's why Rudd is one of the greatest of all time. That kind of toughness, you just don't really find anymore, man, I swear. Number 5, winning a race while suffering from major heat exhaustion in 1998. Taping your eyes open is crazy, but this is another insane feat that just puts Rudd in a level of his own. It was at Martinville in 1998 in the Napa Auto Care 500. It is hot. I mean, melt the pavement hot. And Ricky Rudd is running strong, but then the cooling system in his car failed. Now, if y'all don't know this, inside a NASCAR car during a race, it can get up to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's with everything going right. So with the failed cooling system, he was cooking in there, and I don't mean in a good way. At one point, his team tries to cool him off by dumping water into his fire suit. Bad idea. The water turns to steam and gives him 2nd-degree burns. So now he's got a busted cooling system, 2nd-degree burns, and he's got to drive 500 laps around one of the toughest tracks in all of NASCAR. But did Ricky quit? Hell no. He just pushed through it, kept going, and he won the race. He was so exhausted afterwards, he had to do his press conference as the victor, lying on the ground. Even fellow drivers like Michael McDowell, who had a working cooling system, talked about how brutal the conditions were at that particular race. But Rudd, he just powered through it like the warrior he is. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the true definition of toughness. And that, folks, is why Ricky Rudd is one of the toughest, most hardcore, and greatest NASCAR drivers of all time. 788 consecutive starts, 23 major wins over a 30-year career, and an ability to push past things that would have destroyed a normal driver. That's why he deserves to be in that 2025 NASCAR Hall of Fame. He never backed down, he never gave up, and he did things his way, no matter what anybody else thought. Richard Petty summed it up pretty well about Ricky Rudd when he said he had a job to do, and nothing was going to get in the way of him doing it. Now we'd like to hear from you. What's your favorite Ricky Rudd moment? You think he set a good example for the next generation? Join us in the comments below and let's get this conversation rolling. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an interesting story. Do share this video with your friends, and until next time, keep the conversation going here on Lucky Dog on Track.